Alright, good morning, guys. Sorry, this is late. I meant to do it yesterday, which was also late, but I've been traveling and got caught up with a few things. Um, I'm gonna go and go over Thursday's trade, and I did not trade Friday, but I went ahead and took shorts on MNQ right here, and I could have longed right here, and we'll go over why. So, at this point in time, I'm gonna go ahead and get us back into our replay real quick. Actually, no, all right. So this was the trade that I took from top to bottom. The reason that I took this was as follows. One, it was a Thursday, so it is the fourth quarter of the week, and I'm more than happy to trade. Two, right when we entered Q3, Q3, Q3. Oh, excuse me. Right as we entered Q3, 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 we we're automatically bullish on all these 1 minute candles, and I'm looking for a bearish move because I expect us to be bullish on the day. And that was just off of analysis I did regarding Thursday's the lead up into Thursday open. So that was just my personal opinion and my higher time frame opinion that I've gone over for the greater month, which I believe to be bullish until one of our assets takes out all-time highs. So going into that, I expected, and this is something I've been messing with recently, is taking shorts for something like a 30-minute PO3, starting at 10 during this Q3, starting at 10 to set us up for the 10 a.m. PO3. So if we expect the 10 a.m., if we're trading the 10 a.m. PO3 and we expect that to manipulate to the downside, I want to take a trade to the downside, and then I want to take the 4-hour PO3 to the upside. That's kind of what I've been messing with this week. And but I haven't traded it yet. I've just been looking at it. So this was a great example of that, where we have this, where I took a loss right here because of this CISD. So we had a CISD right here, and I went ahead and took this as an entry. But had I recognized that we didn't actually manipulate anything, I would have realized I was being stupid. The important part here was this is the new week opening gap, which we manipulate, and then this right here I counted as a change state of delivery. Maybe you wouldn't have counted it as a change state of delivery, but it's my trading account. So we hit the NWOG. The reason that I counted that as a as a manipulation, not change state of delivery, is the NWOG was all the way down here for this week, right? It should be for this week, yeah. Was all the way down there. So and then you have previous day highs right above that from that overnight session, which were all the way down here. So I treated that as manipulation, as a completed fair value gap, just in my mind. And then from there, because I counted that as manipulation, I went ahead and took that as a change in state of delivery, and then from there, I went ahead and entered and put my stops right above this high. Conveniently, this was also PSP, and I took that PSP and ran with it. But as I said, I was bullish for the most part. We were SMTing pretty hard across a bunch of these lows, and there was also an HSSMT. So I was not thrilled on taking shorts. I didn't want to take it to external liquidity. Absolutely not. So I took it to fairly minor internal liquidity. Conveniently, we were above true day open and the true session open as well. So I went ahead and just took it to that sell side liquidity. From here, though, I feel like the awesome trade that I could have taken was this PSP right here on true session open. And there's this guy that I once learned a little bit of wick theory from. He calls it Casa wick theory. His name's Casa. You guys can go check him out if you want. He's kind of cool. But he has this idea that at a low, if you have this 3 candle structure where you have a wick, this wick ideally would be longer, but you have a wick, and you have much longer wick, the third wick will go to fill equilibrium, and you can just enter on that. And my stop would be like a few ticks, which would be sweet, or a few points. And then this was the trade that I would have taken had I been trading later in the day for like a 10 a.m. kind of setup. But this was definitely the 10 a.m. trade, taking that true session open and then longing from there. Excuse me. Longing from there because the change save delivery wasn't as pretty. If we move forward a little bit, we have a change of save delivery right here, but then we don't return until right here. And just kind of, I mean, it works, but it's messy. But I also know Fearing took this trade, so it was, it was a valid 10 a.m. 4-hour PO3. I would think I want to try working on this a little bit more where we hit either true session opens or some kind of point of interest, some kind of liquidity level, some kind of NWOG, something like that. But yeah, that was Thursday's trade. Overall, I think I entered right there and I exited right there. Should have been a little over 225 points. Yeah, 236 points. So it's a pretty solid day. It's my third green week in a row, so I'd say that's pretty solid. My outlook going forward is I still want us to be bullish. I'm overall bearish on this quarter of the year, but I definitely want to see us go and take out all-time highs on one of these assets. It's like killing me that we haven't done it already. Another reason I was bullish, by the way, is this True Week Open was above us, and we've been below it for most of the week, and we then manipulated Wednesday, and I've been expecting us to reverse, and we did that, and then go higher, which is what we did Friday. But I don't trade Fridays because of what happened yesterday. Is actually a great example. Trump statistically announces more news on Fridays. But yeah, I've been messing around with. Here, I'm gonna go ahead and apply this real quick. I've been messing around with that idea of trading a 30-minute PO3 at 10 a.m., which we all know is not ideal, but I've kind of been liking it. Either that or open, either that or the 9:30 a.m. 30-minute PO3, but also trade it during Q3. It's I don't know. I'm still messing with the idea, but I like it, so I'm gonna keep messing with it. So yeah. But I've been messing with that idea. And Tuesday, I recognized was I screwed this one up. Anyways, Thursday's recap is over. You guys don't have to stay if you want, but I find this interesting. So Tuesday, I screwed this one up. And what I wish I would have done was this right here, where we have Q3 opens, and I had entered on a bullish change save delivery right here. But what I failed to recognize was that it's not showing it because this is too far back in history. But if we come back to like right over here, this right here, yeah, get it loaded. It is a bunch of SMTs, like high time frame SMTs, and I didn't put enough weight on that. So we went ahead and we went above, but then when that happened, we also this is that idea that I was talking about where we have like we sweep a true day open or a true session open and we get one of those and we hit equilibrium. Beautiful. Could have been a sweet trade. I did not see that. But this was one of those ideas where we had these high time frame SMTs, especially the weekly and the monthly, and those were big. Those were big in my opinion. I definitely should have seen those, and I didn't. And so when we came down, we swept Asia lows, previous Asia lows, and previous day lows. I was like on top of the world. I was like, all right, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna reverse. This is great. And then we have a bullish change save delivery, and I was manipulation. So that was sad, but had I been smart enough to just wait for Q3, I would have seen that we had made this change, this change save delivery, and then right here is a bearish change in save delivery right on top of that, and we could have taken shorts. One moment, my buy buttons aren't up there. We could have just taken shorts off of that and put our sell right. I mean, I only do 200 ticks, so I would have put it right there. and just let it cruise down to the next lows. Given the strength of these SMTs, I think it would be reasonable to target previous week lows, but I guess that is up to the individual. And that would have been over 1,000 ticks, which would have been a pretty sweet trade in my opinion. I actually won't play this out. That's unfortunate. But anyways, that was my take on uh Tuesday. I didn't trade Wednesday because FOMC. I thought about it, but I did not do it. Um, I don't really have a whole lot else. I'll go ahead and do a weekly outlook on Sunday. And I'll go ahead and look at that. But for anyone that did want to trade Wednesday, I did find a valid trade. Was during Q3, we were bullish structure, and then we had a bearish change of state of delivery, and that was too far from my stop loss, so I would have just waited for it to come up here, and I would have had a pretty sweet entry. Um, but no, it's all good. That was your FOMC entry right there. And this is like kind of another one of those examples of playing out the 30-minute PO3 to the downside for the total 4-hour PO3. But this one played out so slow. I think it's just because of FOMC, as you can imagine. But anyways, I'll wrap it up there. I've been talking a lot, so yeah, I'll go ahead and wrap up. I'm gonna go ahead and add the PSP indicator to the um, WAP. If it'll be for free, you guys can just go access it. And other than that, I'm going to go ahead and rebrand a bunch of the wall, but I'm not changing anything. So, yeah, have a good one, guys. And I will give you all a weekly outlook update on Sunday. Have a good one, guys. Stay safe.